乐路进入直播间，陈老师进入直播间，我 AI 进入直播间 ，H 进入直播间 ，Doggy Chuck 进入直播间，37老人进入直播间，明月进入直播间，玉鑫进入直播间，乔进入直播间，梅进入直播间啊！谢谢 G1赞的直播，谢谢明月赞的直播。马明进入直播间，瑶进入直播间。You can see there are 15 viewers now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait until like 100
or
so. Yeah.
I'm just gonna
谢谢，谢谢哥哥我的问好，感谢感谢。帅哥进入直播间，梅勇进入直播间，森森进入直播间。And you can see here is thumb up, like here, there are 131 here, yeah. Typically we would get thousands of thumb up. 今天的直播一会儿开始是全英文的啊。I love X 进入直播间，维律进入直播间，黄七伟进入直播间。咱们一会儿到观众差不多100个人的时候，咱们开始啊。现在这个咱们今天的主角正在准备哈。周司令进入直播间，谢谢妙妙点赞，新中叶进入直播间，谢谢丽丽进入直播间。一会儿咱们的直播开始是全英文的啊，大家这个差不多到100人进来的时候，我们就开始啊。谢谢给我赞的100次。外星人进入直播间，姐进入直播间，谢谢潘潘的问好，应州还进入直播间，there are 31, right. Typically we wait for like 5-10 minutes, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
外星人进入直播间，谢谢彭奇伟赞了100次，谢谢潘潘赞的直播。We have 600 likes.
Yeah.
看着像 CBC 啊。Can we call it CBC? Canadian. yeah. 橙子云盘进入直播间，佩佩进入直播间，看看赞了100次，谢谢。So this is the primary one, so I'm putting it in the middle.
Okay, so try to
Yeah.
squeeze in a little bit.
Yeah, sure. This chair probably is, we can switch
We
it.
can, actually we can, do you like the higher one or do you like this low, because I could do two this same one.
Actually you can see the higher one because I have high waist. So
Okay.
I visited chiropractor for a couple months last year because at that time I have a lot of cases with a lot of pressure and my chiropractor was so surprised that I have very long waist. So when I sit down I look higher. Okay. Maybe we should sit a little far so that we can all be in the screen.
In the screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
in the screen. Yeah. 大家今天因为今天是纯英文的啊，这个大家一会儿就是说问问题的时候尽可能用英文，然后我小助理的话一会儿也会给大家翻译一下。就刚才我们闲聊那些的话，这个小助理如果说能翻译的话，也尽可能翻译一下，好吧？海贼王进入直播间，亮亮进入直播间，邵国琴进入直播间。We can so they can we can actually what is this? They're trying to ask questions in English, but I don't understand what that is. 今天就是这个大家你得也就尽可能的，对，我今天小助理会实时翻译，然后这个但是肯定就是我们说的这么快的翻译可能不一定翻译过来，所以就是大家尽可能的也这个尽可能的这个and this audience yeah this is one of the very frequent follower. He is almost in each of my live stream. Yeah, he's really funny and he's based in LA. Yeah, so even if this is WeChat, but we have many audience in the United States. Yeah.
Nice.
现在就有一位朋友连线了啊 ，someone is trying to ask these questions. Hello， 你好，童话梦境，你有什么问题吗？
你好，老师你好。
嗨，你好。
我现在问你这些事件。我想申请澳大利亚可以吗
？He's asking about applying for Australia visa. Sorry， 就我不是做澳大利亚那边法律的，我那个是做美国的，所以你要是跟美国相关的可以问，我不是特别熟那个澳大利亚那边的，好吧？对，就今天我们邀请的嘉宾的话也是就是讲英文的，然后所以就是跟法律相关的这个，咱今天不是主要今天的内容。
我也想到美国可以啊。
对，就是今天是这样子，本身今天咱法律不是主要内容，然后另外的话，今天咱们这个直播是纯英文的，所以有点就是说这个和今天的主题不是特别的符合，好吗？
好。
对，感谢，对，可以私信，我帮您推荐澳大利亚那边的律师，好吧？对，谢谢。
好，谢谢。好。
所以进入直播间。
好，再见。
感谢啊，声音进入直播间啊，谢谢。
谢谢。
So people may ask this kind of questions to interrupt. Okay.
So which one's which? That's like YouTube over here? Or?
This one's YouTube, this one's WeChat, this one's RedNote. Have you ever heard of RedNote?
I have not.
It's kind of like Instagram.
Okay.
So people are sharing food and how to dress, how to make up. So it's popular for girls.
Okay, but in China?
Yeah, in China, just in China.
Okay.
基本上进入直播间，轻轻进入直播间。There are 90 people here and we have 3,000 likes, so I think we can just get started with the topic today. So could you just introduce yourself a little bit first?
Hi everyone, I'm Natalie. I'm a founder of a pre-accelerator here in San Francisco. And I was originally born in Montreal. I moved to San Francisco 10 years ago. I was a software engineer, community builder, and now I coach founders, and I also run this pre-accelerator. That's also a nonprofit.
So is it Natalie or Natalie? I heard it's Natalie a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably just my accent, but Natalie, it's spelled like the same as like the actress Natalie Portman. So
yeah. But Natalie is also good.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
But do you feel like the Natalie sounds more Russian?
Yeah. Actually, my dad was inspired. I think he watched a Russian movie, that's why he
Natalie should be like a Russian name, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
And I'm also born around Christmas, so Natalie is a good name around Christmas time.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it will be Christmas quite soon, right?
Yeah.
But the problem would be that nobody will celebrate for your birthday because everybody is at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So could you introduce us to some about your startup project? It sounds pretty creative. It sounds like something you are helping other founders to raise funds, right?
Exactly. So we help a lot of early stage founders actually learn about the different sources of funding. So we're a little bit different than most accelerators because we also teach you about the different sources of funding. So it could be like angel, crowdfunding, grants, loans, family offices, and VCs. Usually a lot of people always want to go VC, but that's actually the last source of funding you should go for. You should try to get you should try to sell first. That should be your number one. If you can make revenue from your customers and not have to give away equity, and then at the very bottom, it's VC funding.
That is a pretty critical matter that most of the founders, they do not understand. They feel like that from the first day, I need to schedule a meeting with investors. But actually, I would tell them that you need to think about, do you really need the money? Because actually the cost of getting money from the investor is really expensive. It's even more expensive compared to get a loan from the bank, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because the investor invests 1 million in your company, they would need like 20% of the equity. And the reason they invest in your company is that they believe that your company can be like a unicorn, right? Like a 1 billion company, right? So actually, what they give you, actually they want more, much more than like the if you get a loan from the bank, they just need like maybe 6%, 8% interest. But if you if you get money from the investor, they would need like 10 times, 100 times of return.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And then they own a piece of your company. So the other thing that a lot of founders don't realize is once you start taking investor money, you cannot you don't have any,
You cannot stop.
you cannot take any profit until there's an IPO or exit. But like if the company is all 100% yours, when you make money, you could take it out and you can give yourself money. But when you have an investor, you can't take out money and just give it to yourself anymore.
Yeah. Actually, most founders, they don't know that, right?
Yeah, they don't.
They just feel like that. They just feel like that. Get the funding from VC. It sounds really fancy. It sounds like that. Your company is pretty good. It's a hit, and many people love that. But actually, if VC give money to you, after that they would always ask you to expand, right? And the founder can just get minimum salary. Okay.
And so like a part of it is also trying to understand like what is your priorities, like what is the lifestyle you want, and what are your goals. So like if you are happy making a couple $1 million and like, you know, not having to like rush, then, you know, just build a successful company, but don't take VC. But unless you really want to grow really, really fast, then that's when you take VC.
So what are the different choices that the founders can try when they
I mean, so the top choice should be if you could actually make a profitable business and get your customers to pay for you, then obviously that's the best.
A self-running business. That is the best. Like my law firm, I have never heard of a law firm getting VC fund. Like a law firm, like a doctor office like that. So that's actually the best. But I would say the drawback of that is that probably you cannot become a very big company, right?
So that's the trade-off. I mean, the only time you should be taking VC is if you have to scale really quickly. And so I would say like companies who want to be something that grows really large, it actually takes a few years before they get in the place to actually even raise VC. So I think a lot of founders think like, oh, if they have an idea, they can just raise VC. That does not work anymore. The only time you can do that is if you have a reputation, you have like an amazing team or maybe it's your friend, or like you really know the network and the people and they trust you. But besides that, like you actually have to prove that your company can do something or be the next $1 billion unicorn.
One honest said their expectations are totally different. It means that the VC investors, they have very different expectation.
So when you take investment, like any sort of money, even from angels, family offices, or VCs, you want to make sure you have alignment on like what is the end goal. Some VCs want you to make money as quickly as possible and then exit. So like maybe sometimes your company is profitable, but depending on your term sheets, because the VC wants to liquidate so they can have money to invest in other stuff that might have more chance to grow faster than you, they might force you to exit even though you're a profitable company. And so that's why alignment with your investor is important. Maybe if you're getting money from family offices, they're more okay with like long-term because they're more based on like maybe supporting the community or mission driven. So therefore they're fine with not having you like return money right away. And so that's why alignment is actually super important.
Sometimes I would give you an example like if you get VC funds, you would just be like the chicken in the cage, right? They just want to feed you and help you to grow bigger as soon as possible. But compared to that, it actually the life might be better to be a organic one. Right? So besides getting VC funds and make revenue, get customers pay for yourself, what other choices we can look for?
I mean, so other things are, I think a lot of people don't consider crowdfunding. That's really good when you have consumer facing apps. Maybe it's also better maybe if you have a reputation, but that's when you can get other like just everyday people. In the US, crowdfunding became legalized a few years ago. And so even if you're not accredited investor, that's an investor that makes, I think it's that you make at least 200 annually or have $1 million in assets, you're not normally allowed to invest. But because of crowdfunding was made legal, so even if you're not an accredited investor, you could still invest small amounts. So companies can get up to 5 million in crowdfunding, and crowdfunding itself is a process. Like you hear about, you know, like viral crowdfunding. Nothing is ever overnight viral. It's all like strategy. So first it could be like you contact all the journalists, you tell them that your product is going to launch soon on the platform, you have a newsletter, you inform your friends. So when you actually launch your product on the crowdfunding platform, you have a stream of people just talking about it, building, coming in and starting to invest. So it looks like, wow, you have a huge demand. So many people want to invest in your company. And so you're actually able to close your raise. But it also is a lot of work, and usually crowdfunding platforms also take a cut. So it could be like 10%, but that's to manage, that's also to manage everything, because they'll have tons of investors and they have to be able to inform the investors when, you know, when there's a, I don't know, when you make money or you like IPO or they have a payout. So they'll manage all of that. And the nice thing about crowdfunding is on your cap table, it's just one line. It looks like it's one investor instead of like gazillion names. Yeah.
So like you just introduced some of the basic concepts for crowdfunding. Because I am doing probably the private equity funding, VC funding. Yeah. So I have heard of crowdfunding, but I don't know the details. So is crowdfunding just for like consumer products? If you are selling like maybe water bottle, like maybe cooler, those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it could be, those are great different sources of where you can use crowdfunding, and different platforms have different, you know, types of things you could crowdfund. So you might even crowdfund your, like a piece of your restaurant. Like, hey, you can own some of your restaurant, I'll do profit share with you. When I'm thinking of it on the tech side, maybe it's a consumer facing app. The other day I advised someone who was doing an app around kind of like education for kids with disability, because that's something like consumer facing that people would want to support. Then that's kind of like something you can also crowdfund. So they were getting a piece of equity in her startup. So you could still do it for startups, and you could also do it for products.
Can we say that it's better, crowdfunding is better for consumer products?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If it's doing a high tech business, it's probably not that good for crowdfunding, because the investors is public investor. They probably would not understand very difficult, complicated technology, right?
Yeah, so one of the reasons like crowdfunding is good for consumers also is because it's the consumers that are investing. So if you think about it, if your customers are also own your product, they will want to help you, right? So I think it was, I don't know if it was Reddit or Beehive. There was one of these kind of like platforms where they crowdfunded because they also want to give back to their users, but then it made their users even more loyal to them. I know Mercury, which is a fintech platform that sort of acts like a bank, they had a very successful crowdfund. They raised 5 million doing that. And so it's also a good way to make loyal customers. Yeah.
Okay, we have a audience just ask a question. How you provide financing to companies? Do you charge fees similar to
So I did not provide financing to companies.
Help them to get financing.
We provide education. So we'll get different experts to speak about the topic. So during our cohort, we get about 30 to 40 speakers, judges, mentors per 10-week program. So it's almost like a 1-to-1 ratio of like attendee to mentor. So we're very hands-on. I personally think we're probably one of the best accelerators because we're small and so hands-on. And because we're in the Bay Area, we get the same speakers. We get just as good speakers as any of these top accelerators. And we like to cover like different things that maybe some of the accelerators don't cover. So I'm a coach. I love mindset stuff. So I even got a teacher to speak about like nervous system reset, like how to have a nervous system of a founder. So you need to be able to not get overwhelmed, not get burned out. And we kind of talk about the science behind that. So you can understand that, so then you can achieve your goals better understanding that science. I do kind of like mindset, inner game stuff. Because if you think about like top performing athletes, they all have a coach. So if you want to be a top performing founder, you should probably have a coach too, because it's really about your inner game, your mindset. And then we have, experienced founders come speak for us. We have VCs come speak for us. We do pitch practice every week. And we start off like, with your elevator pitch, your 1 minute, your 2 minute, and we go up to 4 minutes.
30 seconds.
Yeah. So that you get practice and you get feedback from a lot of different people. So you get an idea of what's missing, what would people ask, what don't they understand. And so you really refine your pitch. And as you're doing that, it also helps you realize your business strategy. And then because we also cover topics such as talking about exit strategy, mergers and acquisition, you kind of understand what you have to think about when it comes to the end of your company. So when you have this big picture view of all of this, you're able to be more strategic about building your company and like all the important decisions you need to know kind of like early on.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so just now there's another one question here that if I actually did not quite understand. If you need to be an enterprise, hand it down from generation to generation, which industry should, do you understand?
Oh, like you wanna hand down your company like to your family?
Then
you probably don't want to raise money because or else you have to give away part of your company. So you probably want to like either take out, best case is like your company's profitable and you don't have to, give anything away. So then if you need money, you would try to get a loan, take out a loan. Yeah. And then other things is like if you're doing enterprise, you can like get a letter of intent, because maybe whatever you're gonna or get them to like prepay. So you're saying like, hey, I'll give you special year access to this if you pay 100,000 up front, and maybe you could build the thing with 100,000, and then you just negotiate that you get to keep the IP and all that. So for enterprise, like that would be the way to go. So and else if you're able to prove that like you have letter of intent that customers are ready to buy, you may be able to negotiate with a bank like, look, revenue is going to be coming in, I just need a loan now to like build it. And so they might evaluate the risk that, hey, this is not risky, these are known companies, revenue definitely is coming in, so I'll give you a loan. And you might need to do things like outside of a bank. So there might be like private lending groups that are willing to take more risk, and they might be able to give you that type of loan. Yeah.
And so the same audience is asking if that's two situations engaging directly in the traditional, I would say, more traditional industries. It's easier to be handed to your son, your grandson, like that.
Yeah. Probably, I know, so last time we had a panel with different VCs, we were like, oh, what's kind of like hot in tech these days? They all agreed that they felt like boring technology, like boring industries that have been here for a long time are actually hot because they're being modernized with tech. And so that's actually like a good area where there's a lot of like revenue potential.
Yeah, and one thing a question I am thinking about when you're talking about just now is that why so many people, they will be misled to go to VC first. Yeah,
I just think it's hype. Like, it's just because it's one of the most things talked about. Like, and so a lot of times, I mean, sometimes people take VC and they didn't have to. Like, so one of the issues, like, especially as you're growing as a company, it might be you have a cash flow issue, right? Like, you have customers, they're gonna pay, but maybe you have like inventory you have to pay. And before those new customers can give you money, you don't have enough to pay your inventory. And so because that's just a cash flow issue, if you raise money, you're giving away equity for no reason, because that would be a case where you could get a bridge loan or maybe a loan from a bank, and just pay it back once the revenue comes in. But then sometimes people don't realize their options, so they just go for the VC route, and then you're giving away your company when you don't need to. So your goal should be to try to maintain as much as your company as possible.
So can we say that because it's just like a survivorship bias, because VC is being reported by the journalists a lot. So people heard of that a lot. Actually, that make me think of like a typically misunderstood legal concept that many people would ask me if I would like to start a new business, do I must go to set up it in Delaware? I suppose you should have heard of that question for also. Because most of I would say 99% of the IPO company, public companies, they are registered in Delaware. So, and because people heard a lot of stories of those public companies. So that make people have the mindset that Delaware is the best choice. But actually, I would tell them that if you're just like a noodle shop, if you're just like an ice cream, right?
And you're not taking VC.
Actually, you do not need to go to Delaware at all. You just set up a California LLC or California corporation, depends on a lot of factors. So sometimes there are a lot of key knowledge that many people you before you get into this industry, you need to learn that, you need to practice that instead of just heard something from others, right? And just get started doing. So I can give you an example, like I have many startup founder clients, and many of them are like maybe Stanford students, maybe like software engineers from like Google, Facebook, like those companies. Actually, they have pretty good technology, they have pretty good ideas, but actually they know nothing about how to run a business. And I do have a real case that are 3 PhD from Stanford University, and they come to me and set up a company. I at first suggest them not to do equal split equity. They just want 33 for each of them. Do you feel like that is also a common pitfall? Would you advise on the equity structure?
I mean, so the equity, I think the difficult about, like, let's say if it's all 33, when everyone has a different opinion, it's hard to...
It's a deadlock.
It's a deadlock. And so usually someone should have at least more authority to make the final decision. I will say, like, I mean, I feel like this is always a debate, you know, do you have co-founders or not? Do you be solo or not? And I think you just have to understand, you know, the trade-offs for each. And so, you know, with co-founders, when you have co-founder conflicts, that could be a difficult thing to resolve. Also, when it sort of comes with decision-making, especially if 2 co-founders have similar skill sets, then that's usually when it, you know, when you have different opinions, they both each want to make the choice. So it's better when each co-founder has their own specialty and they each get to own authority in their own specialty.
That's right. So that in that case, I told them not to do equal split, and I also write that the reason of that to them, but they still want to do that, and after just about like a couple months, they find that they cannot work with each other, and they typically have different opinions. And that is just not that one single case, and I would say that for all the cases who set up a company and later come to me to do a stock repurchase or just to dissolve the company, I would say 80 or 90% of them is because of the dispute between the shareholders, between the founders. Yeah. So I would say that is also an example of some of the basic knowledge you need to know before you really get into this industry. Right?
Yeah. I know, like, me and my friend were looking at some of the stats. They were a little bit outdated. I think they were from Carta, maybe in 2013 or something. But they showed that solo founders had more successful, I think it was like either IPOs or, was able to raise their next series than ones with co-founders. And I think sometimes that's because you might be able to just move faster with one decision maker.
Sure. Yeah, and just now you talk about like crowdfunding. So is there a limit for crowdfunding? Sounds like crowdfunding
5 million.
5 million cannot be a lot of money, right?
Per year. So I think if you crowdfund 1 year, you're able to like crowdfund the year after, but it's a limit. Yeah, there is a limit.
Yeah, and I heard that there are also some platforms that will help you to do crowdfunding. Actually, it's probably something like you can just click through some to fill in the form. Is it like that?
I haven't used them myself, but I know there's one here in the Bay Area called WeFunder that's very popular. And then I forget there was
something called Go something like I can search that, but I have heard my client has asked me crowdfund. I'm just curious about the platform. How do people typically use crowdfunding? Do they do that by crowdfunding or do they need to do that from scratch? Is that complicated?
I think so depending on the platforms, they each have different rules. So like some of them might have I think WeFunder, you have to have it raised at least 50,000 yourself. So there is at least like a barrier to entry, so they're just not getting randomness. Right?
Indiegogo.
And then some of the other ones maybe have higher thresholds, or they need you to spend like 100,000 on marketing. So depending on the different crowdfunding platforms, they each have their own, obligations. Yeah.
So then, do you feel like typically is it easy to do crowdfunding, and how long it typically takes? You just mentioned that if the funder would like to do everything from scratch, then they probably need you to spend 100,000 in marketing, right?
Yeah.
How complicated? How much time or how much money it costs? For example, I would like to do a business bicycle, right? That sounds like a good example for crowdfunding. Then what should I do? Assuming I have the product, I have the prototype for the product. What should I do in order to get crowdfunding?
I mean, just as much effort as it would to make something like viral on social media is the same amount of effort it would make you to go viral on crowdfunding, because you're pretty much using the same thing, but then you're pointing to your crowdfunding. So that effort, so if you're not able to get attention, if you're not able to get media presence, then you will not have a successful crowdfund. Like putting your item up on crowdfunding is not going to get traffic to you. It's just like building a website. No one's just going to come. You have to do marketing. You need to like build reputation. So some of the crowdfunding is maybe reputable brands that already have their own customers, and then they decide to like now raise. So their loyal customers are like, yes, I would love to own part of your company. Else, if you're really good at like, making things go viral, doing marketing campaign, getting visibility, and I would say you also have public relations, like reaching out to the local newspapers, or magazines or whatever, to like tell them that you're gonna have a crowdfund, and like if they agree that they want to like write about your product, so like you'll update them when it's ready, and then they'll launch their article. So there is a strategy to it, as well as I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. But so anyway, even if you
you put your product on the platform, you still need to do a lot of marketing. Just like you put your product on Amazon and you would like to sell it, you still need to do
Exactly.
But actually, if you go to VC funding, it still costs a lot of time and money, right? You need to go to like social networking. It takes a lot of time maybe to schedule coffee meeting with the investors. It's actually each of the each way of getting funded is not easy. It's pretty time consuming.
Everything is time consuming. So like the other thing that's nice about crowdfunding though is that you are setting your price. So you are saying like, this is what I want to like set my shares at. And so then people who buy are agreeing to it. And so that might be a nice leverage against VCs. So it's not like the VCs have all the power because you also have other sources, just like anything with supply and demand. If there's more supply, right, you have more supply funds, then the demand has less power.
Okay. And speaking about your platform, so sounds like your platform would give the funder, first-time funders especially, a lot of knowledge. Then how do you typically charge them? Do you sell the courses to them or
so they register for a 10-week program. We are actually considering to change our model a little. So we have all the video footages from the first 2 cohorts. So we're probably going to do something where, hey, if you buy 1 year of subscription to these videos, you can also join our cohort. So pretty much, but you'll still have to apply, and then we take 30 to 40 per cohort, and we do 2 per year.
Okay. So do they also need to pay?
So they do need to pay. It's paying for the education. It is a fraction of the cost because everyone's volunteering. So normally I did a comparison with like Draper U. They charge like 10,000. Usually it's like maybe their country is another country or organization that's paying for it. But they charge a lot for their program, and I would say our program is comparable. We did have...
It's affordable.
And so like on our YouTube channel, we have one where we had Berkeley, we had Founders Institute, we had and Draper U and us just chat and compare like what you get from each of our programs. And so for us, we also do not take any equity. So, if you're still learning and deciding about your company, you're not giving away your company before you understand it. And so then you're making informed choices by the time you decide to take money from anyone.
So also, what's the name of your platform? Something Lab?
Funding Breakthrough Lab.
Funding Breakthrough Lab. So if you can subscribe on YouTube or somewhere.
You can go to our YouTube. We're gonna start putting some of our events or workshops on there as well. And then our website is fundingbreakthroughlab.org. We are a nonprofit, so.
So as a nonprofit, I feel like that most people would also have the misunderstanding that nonprofit cannot make any money. That is totally wrong. I would often tell them that Stanford University is a nonprofit. Stanford Hospital is a nonprofit, but people work there, they make a lot of money, right? So actually for nonprofits, could you please introduce some about nonprofit?
I mean, the goal of a nonprofit is to really help community, and it's not to make a ton of money. But the nonprofit needs to still be able to support itself. It still needs to pay its employees. It needs to pay for software, right? Like, and so its goal is to just make enough money to like actually run and continue to provide support.
But does it mean that a nonprofit can just keep even? Break even, cannot make any profits?
I mean, it could still make profit. So I mean, the nonprofit could just, if it makes more money, it could keep it there to use in future. It could save it for next year.
It can pay for the employees, but it cannot distribute to the shareholders. There's no shareholder. So for a profit company, then for a general like corporation or LLC, then there are a shareholder, board of director, and then like the CEO, CFO, those managing level. 3 layers. But for a nonprofit, there is just the board and the CEO, CFO, the executive team. Yeah, so there is no ultimate owner for the nonprofit. So it means that if you have remaining after you pay for your employees, after you pay the cost, after you pay the tax, if there are still like 1 million left in the company, then you cannot distribute to anybody. You can pay for future expand, right? And you can make better benefits for your employees, right? But you can not take the money out just to someone, just one single person. Is like that.
Exactly.
So, and could you please tell us that like make money by yourself and the crowdfunding and VC funding, is there another way to
grants?
Grants, but that's probably typically just for specific industries, right? So if you're doing like something like biology, those kind of research. I heard of it. Clients getting grants.
I mean, there's different places you could get grants. So you could get government grants, right? And that's usually because the government wants to promote a certain industry. And so that's why it'll have grants so that more businesses are built in that industry.
Like clean energy.
Yeah, exactly. Like tech, AI, it's trying to promote those so that it's a leader in the space. So that's why they'll give grants in that. Other places you might be able to get grants if companies themselves are providing grants because maybe they want you to use their product. And so then therefore, if you're doing something related to their product, they might be like, oh, we provide grants for that if you share your story. And for them, it's a little bit more of a marketing reason. So those are like private-based grants. And then it could be like family offices, like they just philanthropic, they want to do good, and they want to support certain types of people they relate to or whatnot. And so they might create grants themselves and therefore, promote whatever they want to see in the world. You might also have things like banks might have grants because they have obligation to help the community grow businesses. And so they might provide grants for different reasons. And so I know grant funding itself also is a process. We did have different grant speakers or grant writers come to our cohort, and they said the success rate is usually about 1 in 10 to 1 in 6. So it's not guaranteed, but if you think about it, grant money, you don't have to pay it back. You don't have to give any equity. So even if it takes as much time as getting VC funding, it's actually probably better. I know there is a steeper learning curve with, just even when you learn how to approach VCs, there's a learning curve. So it could be worthwhile to figure out or, hire a grant writer a few times, learn from them. The advice one of them gave that I thought was really good is, I guess this was applying to government grants or just grants in general. The way the grant company writes what they want from a grant, you can kind of hear what they're looking for. And so as long as you're addressing what they're looking for, with government grants, it's because they're trying to boost an industry, for example. So you want to insinuate hey, this tech that you want, we're building that. And so if you're agreeing to if you're helping them fill their need, then there's more chance you'll win that grant.
Yeah, so for grant, what the government would request after they give you grant, VC would ask for equity does the.
Yeah, I mean, so I think as long as you're following up and doing the requirements of the grant,
they will not ask for anything.
They're not gonna ask for it back.
So it's money for free?
It is free money.
Yeah. But the standard must be pretty strict, right? It's very hard to get that.
Yeah, it is pretty strict. I think you'll probably have to do interviews as well. You'll probably have to list who your potential hires are. Have a business plan. So there is work involved, but it's probably just as much work as when you go into VC. like, I think people just think like, oh, for the VC, I'm just doing the pitch deck, right? But no, when the VC gets more and more into investing you, they want to see your business plan too, like your data room, all these detailed information. And that's the same thing you would need to do a grant proposal. So you're going to have to do those business plan and details anyways. And even if you were trying to build a profitable company, you should make a business plan to like strategize, like how are you actually going to make money?
So for VC, actually before you get the term sheet, probably it's very easy just to give them a pitch deck and you give them like roadshow. But after they sign the term sheet with you and before they give you the real money, they would do a lot of like due diligence, right? The tech due diligence, the financial due diligence, and legal due diligence, and that would spend a lot of time, typically a couple of weeks. So actually you still need to do a lot of preparation in order to get VC funding. And so for then just now you talk about like crowdfunding. So after you get crowdfunding, does the public investors take part of equity from your company or?
I mean, so based on the price that you sold your shares, so there is equity given away. So it's exactly the same thing. And then there is, there's a percentage cost that goes to the crowdfunding company for setting it up. But
typically how much is each round? Because for VC funding, typically each round costs like 15 to 20% equity rate.
I mean, so it depends on, because you're also setting the price for your round. And then you can only cap at like 5 million. So 5 million, who know, like depending on it depends on what your company's worth. So is 5 million, 10% of your company, or is 5 million 5% of your company? It's so there's a cap. It's not the same. Like usually a full round for VC is about 10 to 20%. It's not the same thing as that.
Okay, but it will take some percent of the.
Right? I mean, so you're gonna set the price, but you're probably setting it a price that's comparable to what the VC price would set, right? So it's gonna come out the same generally.
Okay. So we have like self-running and like crowdfunding, like grants, like VC and any other.
Angel investments, family offices. And so
family and friends. Actually, family, friends, and full.
Exactly. And so like usually, family friends are doing it more because they want to support you. Angels are probably there's more chance that they're doing it because they resonate emotionally with you. They like your product. If they're they have some expertise in what you're building. So those are, I would say, probably a little easier to get than VC money. And same with family offices. They're usually more mission driven. So family offices also, like first generation is usually probably My dog wants to say hello.
Say hello. That is great. The audience will love that.
And so family offices, also there's like first generation family offices. So they're usually like maybe a founder that was very successful, and family office, I think it's their net worth is more than 100 million. And so usually when it's like first generation, they're very mission driven, so they're gonna invest in what they want to see in the world. Second generation is usually like, okay, this guy made all the money, or she made all the money, and then she gave the money to her children, the next generation. So they're still rich because they made so much money. So the second generation is usually investing because they're like, oh, my parents wanted us to invest in this, and so therefore we're keeping the mission alive. And so then they're usually trying to just follow the protocols of the generation above them. So there's less wiggle room because they're following that. And then third generation, I mean, usually by that time, there's a lot less money. So then they maybe are more concerned about like investments that will make them money because they're just trying to keep the family wealth at that point.
Yes, for family office, can I say that for the first generation, they would try a lot of different industries, try different type of business. And the later, the second or third generation, they would be even more conservative.
Yeah, because they're gonna follow what the first generation told them to do.
Yeah. Sure.
And then the first generation, it's kind of like if you made a lot of money and now you can go invest, you might be more willing to do different things. You might be willing to do what you're passionate about. Yeah.
Yeah, and so after Andrew from family office, any other common way to do funding? Yeah.
I mean, so there's like corporate VCs, right? So it's like the VCs of big companies like Cisco, right? They have their own venture.
Yeah.
Walmart and all those, but they usually invest in like industry, like things that also help or relate to their industries. And so that's a choice. And I think, private equity, depending, might be an option as well. Yeah.
And could you please let us know that why you decided to make this kind of startup? Yeah, this lab. Yeah, it's because it sounds really unique. I have been working as a startup lawyer for 10 years in the Bay Area, but I have never heard of anybody doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was because I was trying to do my own startup and I was doing community building. I helped build out the female founder community here. But then I was like, hey, if I actually took the time to learn what was good for me, if I was going to go fundraise, like what would I want to know? And I'd be like, well, I would want to know, like, should I take a bank loan? Is there other sources of money instead of just going with what's mainstream, such as VC? And so I started just going around to ask for speakers. And by that time, I had a pretty big network from doing community building. So people agreed to speak. And then I built out the first cohort. And it went really well. So I ended up doing the second. And now I'm planning to do the third. And it was mainly because I saw that no one else was doing this. Like nobody was answering this. And I would say this is one of the reasons it's a nonprofit. Because especially like we're helping very early stage founders, if most people won't help them because they're never going to make money from it. They're not going to make profit. And the only real route right now that's very financially viable is the VC route. That's why you hear about them a lot, because all the VCs are out there promoting, their companies, their investments. So you hear about it a lot. But the other sources, like to educate very early stage founders, you have to kind of wait a long time before like profit can be made there. And so therefore most people don't want to put their time and energy there.
Yeah, nobody wants to educate the market. Nobody wants to educate the first time founder.
People just want to make money.
Yeah. So it sounds like you are providing water to the gold miner, right? And do you feel like that? Do you love what you're doing? I believe you love it. And how do you love the thing you are doing? And how's your like daily routine of managing your business? How you're doing that?
I mean, hey, I will say building this was just as difficult as building a startup. So a lot of new things and uncertainty. But it's definitely something I'm passionate about, because it brought in a lot of my different passions. Like I have a tech background, but I love like psychology and understanding transformation. And then just getting to see people like when they have a transformation, when they have that aha, or like you see them like just grow after going through the cohort, it's really rewarding. And so I'm waiting for a bunch of them to be hugely successful, and I'll just be proud that I got to help them be part of that journey. So
And so how is your life every day in managing business? Like when you get up, and what do you do in the morning and what do you do in the afternoon, like that?
I mean, honestly, it's a very dynamic life. I would say sometimes it's a lot of work. Just like you're working here right now in the evening. That happens quite often because we're hosting events in the evening. During the day, you're probably in meetings and calls, especially if I'm planning for the next cohort. The first time around, I had to get on calls with everyone because everything is relationship building. So a lot of it is like getting on calls, telling people about the program, asking them if they want to be a speaker. So it's a lot of meetings, and then also I do coaching. So that's also being on calls. So so the day can vary because depending on what meeting you have big chunks of meetings or different times or events. So I do try to just take note of like, hey, am I feeling tired? And if I am and I notice I have a break, sometimes I go take a nap because I know I might be working into the evening if there's an event. And then one of the ways I've started trying to organize is like if I have calendar bookings, I only have them for specific dates. So other dates, I know there's no meetings. I could put emergency meetings if I need to, but then those are kind of dates that I could have more hands down time to work because there is a lot of context switching, I would say, in this job. But that's probably also one of the reasons I like it because I like being very dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah. So the about scheduling meeting. I believe that is critical for most of the entrepreneurs. So when you set up like Calendly, right, you just set a couple of days, right?
Yeah.
Not every day, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would feel exhausted every day. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So how do you typically set your Calendly?
Yeah, I mean, so right now, for example, I might have for new coaching clients, I might only have them on Wednesday, Thursday at certain times, or I might not put out that I'm taking any coaching clients. Usually Monday and Fridays I block them off. I try to put most of like the clients I'm already coaching on Mondays, and then the rest of the week is kind of for ongoing meetings like related to the work for the Funding Breakthrough Lab and co-hosting events. So yeah.
So you mean that you would put one kind of meeting in specific day for Monday and Friday you would make it for the founders, they're ready for the lecture, right?
Yeah.
And for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you would make that available for people who are interested but not get started, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then like
so that you don't need to switch a lot in different meetings.
Yeah. And then I also just try to block off my calendar when I know something's coming up. Like let's say if I know there's a conference or my cohort is going to be at a certain time, so I'll make sure to just put a block on my calendar so no meetings can booked or it could be in that time period. So that things don't get overbooked. Also just even like on certain days, like let's say I know I'm coming back, I'm gonna go visit my family and then come back. I might like block off the few days that I come back, right? Because usually you're catching up. And so just taking note of, because I do think it's quite easy to burn yourself out when you're building your own thing and doing a lot. And it's very easy to like constantly be go because there's so many different things to do. And so I think, and this is where coaching comes in, which is also what I do with my startup founders, is just having someone to kind of go back and forth for you to figure out what is your priorities, and then just be more strategic with planning. That's also like a great reason to have a coach, to just slow you down for a moment so you could speed up.
Yes. Yeah. Do you have a moment, example of when you get really exhausted? So how is that? How that happened and how you finally get over from that?
Yeah, I mean, so I think I just try to. I started to try to just pay more attention to like how tired I feel, and I try not to force myself to do anything that I like. Example. A lot of times there's always tech events going on in San Francisco, and some of them are really good networking opportunities to build relationships. People invite me to stuff, but I know like just coming back from the holidays, I was still feeling a little bit burnt out. There was a lot of like things going on, and so even though there was conferences or things that people invited me, I just didn't go because if I did, it would burn myself out and it would make it even worse. So, and so this is one of the things we talk about in our cohort, which is polyvagal theory. It's like your nervous system. So your nervous system, there's your rest state, that's your parasympathetic, and then your fight or flight or free states, that's your sympathetic. And so the thing is, you know, when you're stressed and go, that's kind of like you in your fight or flight state. When you start to freeze, that's when you're starting to get to burnout. And so just paying attention, because you don't want to get to burnout, because when you really burn yourself out, it's going to take you a lot more time to get out of that. And so burnout sometimes could look like procrastination. It could look like you really don't feel it. It could feel like depression, low energy. That's when you know you're starting to burn out, and that's when you need to pull back. Yeah.
That's some like psychology knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So do you have a detailed example of when was that and why you get burnout and how many days it takes? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
A recent one, like, do you have that kind of experience this year?
I mean,
last year?
so like I feel like by the end of the cohort, so last cohort I was testing out doing weekends for the cohorts. And what happened was I ended up just working 7 days a week because I would have meetings during the week, and then on the weekends when we had our cohort in the morning, I was thinking like, oh, it's morning and afternoon, but then that means I was on like every day of the week. And so by the end of the cohort, like I was definitely burning out. And so, you know, right after that, I kind of just had to like shut off.
10 weeks, right?
Yeah, it was 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And so it was 10 weeks. And so like, luckily, like I had volunteers with Funding Breakthrough Labs, or one or two of the dates, like they were able to host the courses, but still it was like too much. And so I realized I probably will not do a weekend cohort anymore. I was testing it last one, and I think it's too much. And I also felt like it was the same for the founders, because a lot of them were working during the week and then doing the weekend. So I think by the end we were all like very exhausted at the 10 weeks.
Yeah. So during that 10-week cohort, how is your weekday schedule? Do you like get started meeting 8 or 9 in the morning and work until like 11, like midnight, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it would vary. I would say a lot of it was sometimes the main reason of working late is like planning events. But then another thing is, I mean, I think it's because there's always so much to do, it's very easy to just continue to work. And so like, you're like, oh, this little thing or that little thing or this event, or someone messaged you. And so sometimes it's just a matter of like having to put a boundary for yourself and being like, hey, I'm taking the evening off. I'm, you know, going to enjoy myself, and like not, you know, making sure, like for me, like it's making sure I have my weekends again, like taking time to enjoy myself, see my friends. So like if you're starting to burn out, co-regulation is super good. So having, you know, hanging out with your friends, that could co-regulate. Hanging out with other people who are not burnt out can help you get back to not being burned out, because their calm nervous system will help regulate your burnt out nervous system and get you back to normal. And so, you know, like if you're feeling bad or stressed, you know, when your friend gives you a hug and you feel better, that's co-regulation right there. Yeah.
And one audience is asking, what is the biggest challenge for female entrepreneurs?
I mean, I think there's a lot of different challenges, but a big one that people say is, you know, they get less than 2% of the funding. So if you're
why 2%?
I know
2%.
You're only 2%, right? So if you're an only
So you mean
female
the
founder,
only female?
So like if your team, if you're as co-founders or as a solo founder, you're all female.
Okay.
Only 2% goes to you. Versus if you have both male and female, it's about the same as like a male-owned company.
Okay.
And so that's really hard for women. So like another thing that happens is VCs, just by chance, by bias, they'll tend to ask like preventative questions, like what if this happened? What if this went wrong? Versus like, what are all the opportunities, which are promotion questions where you could talk about how good things could be. they kind of tend to ask about what could go wrong. So the technique to address that is to flip that. So if they talk about what could go wrong, you should be like answering, well, is what could go right. So you answer as if they asked the promotion question. I've heard of cases where VCs could be inappropriate with some of the women. Where maybe they're thinking, like, the women will think it's they're there to pitch their company, but then the VC is using it more almost like a date.
Yeah.
So like that gets annoying for women because they feel like it's wasting their time. So let's see, what are other things?
Have you ever personally experienced any this kind of like discrimination to female entrepreneurs?
I've heard of women talking about it, that's happened to them. And so they thought like, hey, this is a business meeting endeavor, but then like the person wasn't really talking business with them. And so that can be upsetting.
I'm talking about generally. Do you feel the drawback since you are also a female funder? Not just like that. The VC investor will treat it not like a business. I mean that generally. Do you feel that pressure or that drawback as a female funder?
What do you mean by like pressure?
For example, like when you request for invite guests, invite speakers to, and because you're not raising fund for your own nonprofit,
I mean, so far I haven't had issues getting speakers to come.
Just an example, just anything about the business. Do you feel like that? I lose this opportunity. I can feel that it's because I'm a female founder.
I haven't felt that myself. I honestly, like, I think no matter what situation, like whether you're a female or male, you can always leverage like what strengths you have. And so, because I've been a woman in engineering. I will say you do have to advocate for yourself because of like stereotypes. People will just assume the stereotype. So if you agree with the stereotype, people will just agree with you. So if you say like, oh, I'm not that good of an engineer, or I'm more of a, like, I would say I'm mostly front end, even though I've done full stack. But if I'm just like, oh, I'm just a front end engineer, people will be just like, you're just a front end engineer. Versus like maybe if you were a male, because they think, like, I'm just giving an example, they think men are good at tech in general, though someone might be like, because the stereotype is men are good at everything, if a man was just like, oh, I'm just good at this, other people might be good, like, no, you're also good at this. But then because the stereotype for women is like, oh, you would only be good at this, they'll just agree with you. So like if you're trying to counter stereotypes, like you have to advocate for yourself, else people will just agree with the stereotype.
And what makes you started to do this nonprofits, especially do you have any like the experience of your family when you grew up? Is there anything that make you to want to do the nonprofits?
I mean, I think it's just because I've worked for I volunteered at a lot of nonprofits ever since I moved here in San Francisco like 10 years ago. So I volunteered with, I think it was called Willpower. It was a women's org one. I attended it. I got a lot of benefit. And then I ended up volunteering with them for 2 years. And then shortly after that, I met someone from Girls in Tech. So then I joined the Girls in Tech team. And then I volunteered with them for 5 years before starting to build out the female founder community, which was also nonprofit, and then launching this nonprofit. And so, I think it was just, I saw like how useful, I mean, one, I would say I got a lot of experience working at a nonprofit that I otherwise wouldn't. And so sometimes, going to work or volunteer at a nonprofit is also a good way to build skills and also contribute and help. So And then there's a lot of benefits. Like a lot of companies try to support nonprofits. So some software, they might have free plans, like Canva is free for a nonprofit. So there are benefits.
Yeah, I noticed that you're using Canva just now.
Yeah. And so Slack, if as a nonprofit, you can get a free Slack, because our Slack is extremely expensive, and that makes running my cohort, like I don't have to pay like $7-8 per person on Slack per month. All my cohort members can come on Slack, and so that's great. Yeah,
I know that Slack is really expensive recently, so that's the reason why we switched to Google Chat.
Yeah.
And there's really a feature that is not friendly for Slack. The chat history can be only kept for like 3 months. I heard that. No matter it's paid or not paid. I heard it's that.
Okay.
And state of mind we consider more. So one audience is asking, is female founder, they would consider more about risks? Are they more conservative? Do you feel like that?
I forgot there are some stats about like how females were slightly different than male. We had a company that actually what they do is they kind of use AI to do like chat analysis, personality analysis, and they had all this data from like top performers in like accelerators and companies. So I'm going a little off track. I will just share, since it's interesting, like the main 2 things that makes a founder successful is if they have self-belief and they're good at executing. I think women had like a certain trait that was a little different than men, but I will say in general, like women actually tend to supposedly perform better. So like investments in women-based companies tend to actually outperform. So it's kind of, ironic that women aren't getting that many investments, because they actually are like actually better at managing and building a company. I think for starting, this is what one of my friends said, like you need to take a lot of risk and just like go at things, even though when it's uncertain, and men tend to be better at that. And so maybe at the initial stages, that's good. But then when it comes to actually running and managing, women tend to be a little bit better at that. And so then they actually tend to outperform.
And so would you share about some of your experience of your grow up, like your family, and what impacted you to do what you're doing?
So I grew up in Montreal. My mom was a nutritionist. She had interned there, and that's why we moved to Montreal while the rest of our family was actually in the US. And then my dad worked as a project manager for like construction. He actually worked on the Three Gorges Dam project in China. And so he was always traveling. And I would say both my parents worked, very hard. And so they were quite busy. I felt like just working to take care of us. And so I felt like, when it came to going to school, I just had the mindset of like, hey, you have to study, because that's what my parents told you, get good grades. I think I didn't realize like another big part of university is network. Developing network is super important. That's the reason you would go to a good school, for that network. Because even now in Silicon Valley, like I see how just because you both went to the same school, like someone might associate with you and be willing, like when you're connecting people, oh, you both went to Harvard or this and that. It does make like a common point for people to want to interact with you. And so network, especially now as I'm doing community building and all this, I realize like how important network is.
Is your parents like they would like you to just find a job, like to have a normal life as everyone?
So I mean, when I wanted to do this, my dad was like, no, do not. It was actually very hard. He was like,
sounds like very busy but not making a lot of money, right?
Exactly. He was like, not only are you not making money, your opportunity cost, like your salary, the amount of salary you would have got as an engineer, you're also losing that. So he was really trying to tell me, like, don't do this. You should just get a stable job and, be safe. So it was, at the beginning, it was kind of hard to go against your parents' wishes. But I think I had to realize, like, hey, this is my life, and this is something like I've always wanted to build a company and make something from scratch. And so yeah, so I'm doing it. And then now I'm so far down the line, I feel like if I went to get a job, it'd be such a shame.
And do they feel better for what you're doing now?
I think because I'm still not fully in the clear, like financially, they're still worried about me.
Yeah.
I'm still like building out FBL so that it could be financially sustainable. We're only our first year as a nonprofit. And so they're still worried about me, but right now they've stopped trying to say no and are just trying to be supportive. So that's nice. But I could tell they're worried.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, so how long it takes for you to negotiate and settle with them? So are they still in Montreal? Or?
So my mom's in Montreal, and then my dad's in Calgary. My parents are unfortunately separated. So, actually, I felt like for a while, because my dad and I got into a fight, like I didn't talk to him for a few months because of this, because he was really trying to push his opinions on me. And so I just had to actually keep my distance. Yeah. So
actually, that is pretty much same for all the entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And I would say that for that part, I would say that for kids who meet their parents' wishes, they are the second generation of the parents. But for kids who break the wishes of the parents, they are their first generation. I would feel like that. Yeah. So my parents would also like me to just stay in my hometown and to work maybe as a teacher there. But I come so far to the other side of the earth.
And build everything on your own.
And do you feel like that your maybe like your current life, do you like your current life, or would like to make maybe some changes?
I mean, I would like to get to a place of having a little bit more stability and peace. Like, I think it's been a crazy ride for the last 2 years. I think there's a little like while to go. I think I have another year of still like getting Funding Breakthrough Lab into a stable place. So I'm looking forward to like not having like crazy long hours, having security about like the financials for the business. And then just having a little bit more time to go out with friends and have a little bit of a personal life.
That's the reason why at first I told you that we probably can do a Friday evening live stream. You told me that you would like to have some time to take a break, right? And this year is my 4th year of running my own business, and in the first 2 years I was also like just working day and night, like that. And later I found that I feel depressed, and I went to mental therapy. But currently I would say that from the second half of 2014 and this year, I'm also trying my best not to have a meeting like Friday evening or Saturday evening like that. If there's any urgent thing, if there's any urgent thing, I can do that, but I will not have my calendar typically opened for any time. That is pretty. That is pretty cool for like a long time entrepreneur, right?
Yeah. And I will say there's a lot of ups and downs in the beginning. So it's good to have a good support group of friends, and also friends who can relate, hopefully, to what you're doing. And so
the last question would be, do you have any time that you feel so struggle and how you get over from those kind of moments?
I mean, I do think that's, where coaching is good. Like having a coach that you could talk through some of your problems going through. Having good friends is good. Being nice to yourself. Like I'll take a nice hot bath, listen to music, also going for a run, de-stressing. Exercise is really good. Making sure you get good sleep. And then not forcing yourself to go do something when you realize you're burning out. So, and then sometimes it's just like letting yourself feel those emotions, right?
Yeah. Okay, so when you feel not that good, you would not feel very nervous. You just do something that enjoy your life and just let the time to to solve the problem.
And I mean, so I just came back from a 10-day silent retreat, and one of the things they make you realize is like everything comes and goes, so that bad feeling is gonna go too. Good feeling
where
is
is
gonna
that?
go.
Santa Cruz.
So it was North Fork. It's kind of close to Sacramento, but it's DHAMMA, DHAMMA.org. It's a nonprofit worldwide. They teach Vipassana, which is the meditation, so you could be enlightened and be a Buddha. And so
meditation,
so it was a great experience. It's donation-based run. They have them worldwide. You could check them out as well.
So that is also a nonprofit.
That's also a nonprofit. And so because they're run on donation, if you're a broke founder but want to do something that's kind of good for you, you can still go do that and give what you can.
Okay, so that is our last question. And is there anything you would like to say when we're approaching the end of the live stream?
I mean, network is super important. Have a growth mindset. I was an introvert before, but now I'm speaking, so everything is changeable.
From I to E, right?
Exactly. And then I believe in, there's another book, Give and Take, by Adam Grant, about givers and takers. So takers usually outperform givers, but in the long run, givers outperform. So you might be, at the beginning, as a giver, you might be helping everyone else, so you're slower. But karma comes back, and so as a giver in the long run, you will outperform. But I will say one of the things that I've learned, I do think in the Bay Area, a lot of people are hustling, and so you also just have to make sure to set boundaries, make sure you have clear contracts. Because people, unfortunately, will also try to screw you over.
Especially as a lawyer, I heard a lot of those.
And so I think for me before, I used to believe be trustworthy, everyone good intention, but everyone's nice at the beginning when they want something from you. But once they start getting into power or different things, that's when things change, or when things get difficult, that's when people show their true colors. And so it's actually really hard to tell, who isn't going to screw you over. So just
don't trust in human nature a lot.
Exactly. Just know how humans actually are. Don't be. I mean, that's another thing with founders. We're overly optimistic, but sometimes we need to be realistic about human nature. So
Okay, so that's the end for our live stream. Thanks for Natalie to be on our channel today. And if you have any questions you would like to ask Natalie, you can just leave a message to me in my channel. Okay, thank you very much. See you.